Good morning, everybody. So it's Thursday. It's the 31st of August, and I've done a little bit of a spread here. So first, I want to say the healing intentions are always set, right? You guys know that. But if you want that, go ahead and decree it and breathe it in. So funny. So first, I'll start with this. Someone said they love my readings, but my cards freak them out. And it's so funny that they said that because I hear that from other people too. So I just want to point out, this is the Deviant Moon deck, and I personally love it because for me, I read intuitively and I read what these cards mean to me. And in this Deviant Moon deck, I see deep truths, right? In my Rider deck, I see simple truths. But this goes a little deeper. It's a little more information with the cards. So that's one of the things that I really like about it. Also, like, it's the Deviant Moon deck, so there's a moon in every there's something that is a moon in every single card, right? And a lot of these faces are done to look like moons, quarter moons, moons. And the moon crosses things over. The moon knows the secrets. The moon knows about things that are done in the darkness. And the moon is also all about intuition. And so that's another reason why I like these cards. But as far as all of the decks go, when you're looking at anything, there's two sides to every coin, right? So if you're highly spiritual and you gravitate towards the light and healing and love, you've got to understand there's a dark side to that, because there's the polar opposite to everything. So you have to understand that there's also a dark side to that, where people gravitate towards the darkness and hate and violence and destruction, right? So if you're somebody who's working with anything spiritual, you have to understand that you don't have control over who created your divination tool, right? And so whenever you get your divination tools, whether it's your pendulums, your tarot cards, even when you're picking up crystals from a rock shop, right? You want to bring your equipment home. We're going to call it equipment. You want to bring it home and you want to cleanse it. You want to clear it. You want to transmute any negative energy that could have been put on it or could have had intentions of negativity put into it. You want to get that all cleared and cleansed, right? And then you want to stand in your power and use your magic and the power of your hands, activate them, get them going, the power of prayer, the power of intention, and you want to reset everything that you bring into your home into a place of love, light, beauty, kindness, healing. Reset it, right? Because you don't know who's touched it and you don't know whose intentions are behind it. So when you're looking at my cards, they might look a little freaky, but they've been healed. They get a Reiki healing every time I touch them. They've been attuned. They've had my intentions put into them, which are divine light, divine love, divine healing, divine joy, divine truth, especially in the cards, right? Always truth. And when they're not being used, I put a selenite stick on them. Selenite's very cleansing, very clearing. But yeah, they've had a Reiki attunement, and they've had my intentions of goodness put into them. So no matter who drew them or what the intention was, I just transmute everything and I turn it into what it is that I'm seeking. And I think, that's really important for us to all remember, that we are in power. We're the ones in power. So if we bring something into our home, if, anything that we're doing, we're the ones that stand in that power. So we want to make our intentions really clear. We have the power. So nothing really has to be freaky. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be afraid of what the cards look like. A good test is feeling your way through it. So if my cards look freaky to you, try just sitting and feeling. What do you feel coming off of them? What do you feel? And start practicing that with everything that you do and everyone you're around. Because I'll tell you, we live in a world where things are very deceiving. And what you've been taught to see as scary may not be scary, may not be bad, may be nothing to fear there. And what you've been taught to see as beautiful or normal could be very dangerous and very scary, you know? So that's just food for thought this morning, just food for thought. But as per the usual, the healing intentions are always set. If you want them, breathe them in for your highest and greatest good only and always, right? And decree that, stand in your power. Just like I'm just talking about with everything in your life, decree it that it's for your highest and greatest good only and always, right? So yesterday I had somebody say, on the reading that I did yesterday morning, because it said, get your basic needs met, get your house in order. Now, if you remember, that was the basic, just basic, simplistic card. Get your basic needs met. It's not saying you have to go all out and overboard. It's just saying get your basic needs met. So they said, thank you for the information. And, they worry for their families that that don't see, don't listen, and so I just, how you guys know how I operate. So I said to my guides, all right, so, you're telling us to get our basic needs met. And so what I want a story around why you're telling us to get our basic needs met, even though we think we know, right? Because we can't assume anything. We live in a world where we really can't assume anything. So even if we think we know why they're saying that, I wanted a story as to why they're telling us to get our basic needs met. Just get some basic needs met, right? So what I'm getting driving the reading, okay, is the star. And that's 17, right? That's where miracles happen. It's great transition, okay? So that's driving the reading. That's the energy creating the pathway, okay? So we have some great transition that's coming in. And we're going to receive that information, okay? And there's probably going to be a period of time where you can't get your money, right? So if you can't get your money for a period of time, how are you going to get your toilet paper if you run out? And I think that's what they're just saying. They're saying, get your basic needs met, right? So we're going to go through a transition, okay? The information's going to come in. It's a period of time. Now, if you look at this information card, right, be logical with your information. Don't run in a panic. This person is not being logical. They've just gone crazy with it. This person is not being logical with their information, okay? Look, the swords are going right through the back of the neck. I mean, he's got a sword going through his foot. He's dropped some of his swords. He's looking back instead of where he's going. He's put the sword right through his neck. I mean, right through his foot. So he's taken this information and he's sort of gotten into a panic about it. He's not using the information correctly, okay? So we're going to go through a period of time where people aren't going to be using their information correctly, and we're going to be in a situation where we necessarily can't get things. Could be our money, but it could also be things like toilet paper. If people are not using their information correctly, and they go out and panic buy, and all of the earthly pleasures have been grabbed by somebody else, and then there's one left, and it's already in someone else's hand, and you can't get it, and you need a roll of toilet paper, but people are freaking out with the information they're getting, you might not get that toilet paper. So this is sounding very much like, when we go through a transition, There might be some panic buying, and I went on to find out more about that. But yeah, there's going to be a transition. People are going to use the information poorly. They're going to panic. They're not going to use the information poorly, and then you might not be able to get what you need. So it could be your actual money that you might not be able to get. And it really could be like people have gone into a panic buy and you can't get something very basic, right? We've seen that happen before. So basically, and that's the energy drive in this reading. This is why they're advising us to get out our basic needs met, okay? So basically, representing the question, why are you telling us to do this? There's going to be a message that comes in, okay? There's going to be a message that comes in that literally halts our journey here for a bit. And this is an 8, okay? So there's going to be a message that comes in that halts our journey, because this is our journey. See how she's getting ready to whack them down? That means things are coming to a halt, okay? So a message is going to come in. It's going to stop the journey for a minute. And people are going to get highly emotional about this. So in this deck, you see the information's going through the heart, right? So that means the information is creating emotions. The energy driving the reading is the information is making people act out, panicky, not doing what they, not being logical with their information. So they're going to get highly emotional, and they're not going to be logical with their information, okay? So this information is going to come in, right? The journey is going to be halted for a little bit. We're not quite sure at this point exactly when that's going to be, and they're not telling us. This is a Wheel of Fortune moment, and it's going to depend on some things. There are only a few people in the world right now that know when this might happen, okay? So powerful people have the information, and a few people under them have the information as to when this information is going to come in and halt our journey. But, this is a panic buy thing. So get your stuff in order so that you don't have, when this information comes in and everybody acts nutty, for one thing, you don't want to have to be in the grocery store with those people. We've seen what that looks like. People pushing each other for a bar of soap and a roll of toilet paper, You don't want to have to be out there doing that. And you don't want to have to worry that, the last roll of toilet paper just got snagged by somebody else because, someone's buying 30 great big packages of them because people are acting out crazily because they're using the information and they're getting all emotional and crazy about it. So that's the basic gist of it, and we've seen that before, right? So I personally always say, ever since 2020 and everybody panic buying all the toilet paper and water for a virus that wasn't even said to cause diarrhea. People go crazy and they get emotional and they don't use their logic. So why wouldn't everybody just keep a little extra something on hand from that point on anyway? Just being smart, not hoarding, but just a little something extra. And so that's basically what our guides have said, get your house in order, take care of your basic needs. They're not telling you to freak out or anything. But they are saying that other people will. They're saying that when this transition happens, people are going to act out poorly. And it's just, it's human nature, all right? So then I asked for a little more story. I wanted to know, because this could be your panic buying, but it can also be like a little bit of a money thing. And so this can have that dual meaning. So I asked a little bit about the money, just a little bit about the money. And, just we want to know everything, right? So I said, give me a little story around the pentacles. Give me a story around money, okay? So this is the quick story that I get around money. I got that there's stuff being done behind the scenes, going through a death and a rebirth. I would say they told us that we already surrendered to the gold. So going through that death and that rebirth, I'm going to say backing that money, backing the system with gold, right? This system is being mended. So the message about money for us today is that stuff's been going on behind the scenes, creating a death and a rebirth, bringing in some gold back to our money system because the money system needed to be mended. So that's just quick. That was just a quick thing on what's going on with our money I wanted to know. And I asked if I got these 2 messages right, and I got the Ace of Wands, so I got those 2 messages right. So that's where I started. And then I was like, okay, so there are people who's, they're concerned about their families. So can you tell me what these days, I always have to be very specific, right? And I wasn't quite specific enough with this question. But the story is still good because the question that they answered is still good information. So I wanted to know what the days going forward are going to look like for people who haven't been paying attention to the fact that the world is corrupt, and that those people that listen to the mainstream and whatnot, what these days are going to look like going forward for them. So this is kind of funny because I should have been more specific about what I was looking for. But what I got was those people that we're talking about, those people that really haven't been paying attention, that we might consider people that we might consider, kind of sleepy when it comes to the uptake of the corruption that's going on in the world. These people are going to get this information, and it's going to be highly damaging to them, right? It's going to come in via social media. This is like my television, social media card. So these people are going to get information via the social media moving forward. That's a higher arcana card. It's absolutely going to come in. They're going to get the information that we already think we know. And we probably don't know everything, but, they're going to get information. So the energy driving this, what it's going to look like for these people, right? The energy driving this is justice. So justice is coming in and driving this whole reading. So people that haven't wanted to look at things regarding our families, our children, our pets, what's going on in the world. This is like my family card. It's pets and family. And you're probably wondering how I get that out of that. And I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but I know that a lot of you guys are learning to read. So I'm going to tell you why I see that in this card. Okay, so Pentacles are our earthly pleasures, right? And so that means our children, our homes, our cars, our flowers, our gardens, our food, our heat, our shelter, our jewelry, our earthly pleasures, And for me, this woman, this chain that she's got around her, to me, is like a leash, and she's walking her pet, right? So she's walking her pet, so it also represents animals to me. And so your pets, your children, your home, your bank account, your car, your food, your knickknacks, anything that's like your earthly pleasures, right? So that's how I get that from that. That's what I see in that card. So the energy driving the reading, what this is the energy driving the reading as to what this will look like for those people that you might consider, people call them asleep. Justice is going to come in. It's going to force them to look at things they haven't wanted to look at. It's going to pull up feelings for them too, because this is emotional. So it's going to force them to look at things regarding children, pets, people, community, and what people in power who have all this money have been doing with the money to our families, our children, our pets, society. So they're going to learn a lot with that justice card. And sorry, I'm blurring. Let me see. There we go. So they're going to learn a lot with that justice card, right? And they're going to feel a lot, and information's going to come out, and that information is going to be pretty hard on them. You see that sword getting ready to drop right in that guy's mouth. Like, this is like, yeah, this is the kind of information that's going to be pretty hard on them. It's going to come in via the social media moving forward. I was like, okay, all right. I get that reading right? I knew it was not at all that wasn't what I wanted to know, but I asked the question accordingly and they answered it because very literal, right? So I got that right. Yes, that's on point. On point, on path. That's what it's going to look like for them moving forward. So then I said, all right, well, okay. I said, all right, so what I really wanted to know was if these people during this transition and during this time where justice comes in and informs them, what I really wanted to know, the truth of what I wanted to know, was during this period where you tell us to get all of our basic needs met, because there's going to be people out there panic buying and stuff, people are worried that their families may not have what they need. I do want to remind you guys all, we made it through 2020. A lot of people didn't have what they needed. I ran into so many people saying they were trying to get toilet paper and couldn't find any, but you know what? They made it through. Eventually they found some, or their friend gave them some. Do you know what I mean? Like, it worked out. We made it through. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fun, but we made it through. So I said, what people really want to know is like, there are some back channels that really amp all of this stuff up to sound like it's just going to be horrific and people are going to go through this terrible period of time and there's going to be nothing and everyone's going to suffer, right? We hear that. I don't pay attention to it because if you pay attention to that, you ground that into the earth, you bring it into being. We already talked about how things are manifested, right? So I said, what I really want to know is, will this period of time be short-lived? Okay? So if you could possibly give me a time frame as to how long all of this, how long the journey will halt, how long people will be panic buying, how long will it take for like all of this information to get out there, and how long is this entire journey going to take, like start to finish, when we're going to need those basic needs met. And so I pulled 3 cards and what I got was 2, 10, 10. So 2 to 10, maybe 20 days tops. So 3 weeks, 2 days to 3 weeks maybe, probably dependent on the locations, how much panic buying took place, so 2 to 20 days maybe, right? And so I asked if I got that right. So 2 to 10 to 20, right? So I asked if I got that right and I got the Magician. And I said, all right. So that would be a yes. And then I said, right. And I pulled another card and I got a yes. And I said, okay, so you're telling me yes, because this is kind of important. I just, this is kind of important, right? So I said, okay, so you're telling me yes? And I got the High Priestess, another yes. But with the High Priestess, they're like, yes, yes, yes. But understand that it might be uncomfortable for that 2 to 10 to 20 days. So that's what I'm getting anyway, you guys. So I wouldn't really worry about your friends starving out. It's not going to be too terribly long. If you've got your basic needs covered, you could probably share a little, right? If it's only going to be 2 to 20 days, depending on the area, right? But definitely don't go into the fear mode because, again, with the manifesting, like, just know that you've got your basic needs covered and you can help whoever you need help. And that most people have at least a week's worth of food in their house. And truly, because people have become so wasteful, I'm just going to say this. Most people have more than a week's worth of food in their house. It's just that people have become spoiled and accustomed to being able to get whatever they want. So They might have the macaroni under the cupboard and plenty of tomatoes, but they don't want to just eat macaroni and tomatoes. So they go to the grocery store again because they want, I don't know, hamburger to go with it, or, stuff to make cheesy garlic bread or something. You know what I mean? But they could technically make a meal out of the macaroni and tomatoes. Or, they might have beans canned up, but they don't want to just eat plain beans. So they go to the grocery store to get whatever. But you know what? You can make a meal out of plain baked beans. And, maybe they just don't want to eat nothing but peanut butter and jelly, but you can survive off peanut butter and jelly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. When I started out, I got married very young. I was 17 when I got married. I was 18 when I had my son. And, we were very young. My husband was a little bit older than me. And he came, he had student loans and car payments and all this stuff that he came with a whole bunch of bills. And then, then we decided we had this family, right? So now we have a baby, and a baby comes with a whole bunch of bills. And we didn't have health insurance when I had Michael, so there was a whole hospital bill thing. And we had to have a place to live, and we didn't have a lot of money. We barely had 2 dimes to rub together after we paid bills and took care of the baby's needs, because babies are pretty expensive. But we made do, and sometimes we did just sit down, and the meal was, I made macaroni and cheese, and that was what we ate. Or the meal was macaroni and tomatoes, and that was what we ate. And sometimes I grabbed the flour out from underneath the cupboard, and I whipped up some pancakes. And you know what? We had pancakes for dinner, but our bellies were full. We had love. We had shelter. We did all right. So you can make do. I mean, people forget that you don't have to sit down to a 5-course meal every night. You don't have to sit down to what people have become accustomed to. You don't have to have avocados on your shelf, on your cupboard. You can make do. People can make do. There's, if you got rice and beans, maybe you don't have chicken, or I don't know. You know what I mean? But you can make do. So most people do have more than a week's worth of food in their house. It's just that people have gotten picky, and they don't want to eat just. So they go to the store again. But honestly, push comes to shove, they got peanut butter and they got crackers. You know what? Sit down and eat your peanut butter and crackers for dinner and be grateful that your belly's full. You get your protein. I mean, it is what it is. We'll be okay. And you know what? If people are so soft that they can't handle living like that, this will probably be a good experience for them, because I truly am one of those people that believe that when we face adversity and we buck up and we walk through it, we come out a better person. And so if people are so spoiled that they can't imagine only being able to eat pancakes for dinner and not having bacon and sausage and scrambled eggs on the side or whatever, then maybe it would be good for them to just eat the pancakes. I mean, I think most people from my generation and before that know what it is to just sit down and eat. Well, we don't really have a lot right now, so, biscuits are for dinner. I come from a generation where we joke about wish sandwiches. We wished we had some meat. We'd throw some condiments on them. Condiment sandwiches. So, we can get through. People can get through. It's not that bad, you guys. It's not going to be too terribly, terribly long. And people can maybe just sit down and eat some macaroni. Who knows? Whatever they throw into it. But it can be done. For most families, it can be done. And if you have your basic needs met and you've been kind of stockpiling a little bit extra for the last several years, then you can share with your family or whatever. It's not going to take too long according to what I'm getting. And that's, just what I'm getting. But so use your own discernment. But this is just what I'm getting. 2 to 20 days. I forgot to pull a card to ask what they wanted us to focus on. And I do like to do that. Let me just, where are my cards? Here they are. Here they are. All right. So let's just see about that, you guys. Let's just see. We'll mess them up just a little bit. What would the universe like us to focus on today? Asking God, guides, highest self, what can we focus on? Whoop. Just cut them 3 more times. Then I'll cut them in half. And let's see, what can we focus on today? Now 3. 1, 2, 3. Gonna change it up just a little bit. What can we focus on today? Focus on the fact that things are coming to an end. So focus on the fact that the things that we don't like are coming to an end. Anything more to that? Want to give us anything more? The Emperor. Ah, the bug on the back. Okay, so usually... Oh, my hand's cramping. I've got to change hands. Okay, so what they want us to focus on. So for me, in this deck, you know, this guy, he's in power and he just doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't care who he hurts. So focus on the fact that things are coming to an end. The people in power that don't care who they hurt, they're ending. Those people that ride on the backs of what's weaker and abuse them, this is coming to an end. This old way is coming to an end. Things are going to be exposed by the looks of things. Another card here. Yeah. This is all going to end the world over. So endings the world over for people that have been abusing their power and things and riding on the backs of others, mistreating others. This is all ending, you guys. So that's what they want us to focus on. They want us to focus on the good stuff and not get too worried about, you know, all of the fear porn that's out there telling you that people will starve or whatever. Don't worry about that stuff. Just know that communities are going to find out truths about things that were kind of nefarious. And just know that, of course, I've covered the cards, but just know that they're asking us to get our basic needs in order because the concern is people are going to panic buy and you're not going to be able to get anything. And then, you know, focus on the fact that there are things being done behind the scenes to create a rebirth and bring in some gold to mend this money system. And that it's 2 to 10 to 20 days, right? Because 2 10s are 20, 2 to 10, to possibly 20 days. And I was like, did I get that right? Yes, I got that right. So yeah, I got that right. Yes, you get that right. Okay, so yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Just might be a little uncomfortable, that's all. So, you guys, I hope you found a little value in this. As always, use your own discernment. But until next time, you know, keep projecting positive things. And yeah, take care of yourself. Stay in that love vibration. And I'll see you.